Hi guys, I'm just making this video to explain the assignment that we're starting. The assignment involves carrying out an experiment, which you'll do next lesson, and then writing a practical report about it. So the idea with this experiment is to measure the amount of energy stored in different foods. You have to do the experiment so that it's a fair test. So that means you're only going to change one thing. Once you're done, you're going to write up a practical report. So that's got to include all of the things that we've talked about in class, and all of the things that you would have put into your last sort of short practical report as well. So there's a list of those there on the assignment sheet. You can submit the assignment in hard copy, or you can submit it digitally on DayMap. And you have to make sure that you submit this sheet as well so that I can grade you. There's a template on DayMap that you can use to help answer all of the questions that I need you to do. And I'll show you how to do that at the end of this video. So first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you in a moment on this video how we're going to set up the experiment so that you know what you're doing when you come to class next. Before you do the experiment though, and you can do this even today, I want you to answer these questions on the sheet. So what's the aim of the experiment? What is your hypothesis? What's the thing you're going to change? So that's the independent variable. What's the thing you're going to measure? That's the dependent variable. What are you going to keep the same? This is your controls. And what equipment will you need? And you can just sketch a little diagram of the test setup as well. Doing that before the experiment will help when you start writing up your assignment, because you'll be able to refer back to this and you'll already have half the assignment done. Okay, now I'm going to show you how we're going to do the experiment. Okay, so the foods that you're going to be looking at are Tiny Teddies, Shapes, Burger Rings, and popcorn. So 4 different foods. The way we're going to test how much energy is in the food is we're going to set it alight, and then we're going to use it to heat up some water. Now the food that has more energy is going to heat the water up so that it's hotter. Foods with less energy aren't going to heat the water up quite as much. So with your setup, what you're going to have is you're going to have a Bunsen burner on a heat mat. I'm just going to show you this without actually using the flame. So this is all make-believe, but you're going to have a Bunsen burner on a heat mat. You're going to have a retort stand with a boss head and a clamp. The clamp is holding a test tube. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to measure out, using a measuring cylinder, an exact amount of water that we're going to put into the test tube. And this amount will be the same every single time. So what you'll do is you'll measure out, say, 20 milliliters. So that's 20 milliliters of water, and put that into the test tube. So that's the water that we're going to be heating up with our burning food. What you'll do then is you'll use this little device that we have here with a spike on it, and you'll take some food. One of the rules will be no eating food. You're going to put the food onto the spike so that it's held in place like this. And then what you'll do, you'll have the Bunsen burner going. You'll be able to put the food into the Bunsen burner, and then you'll be able to put the food so that you can, well, you'll have the test tube a lot lower than what I've got. So you'll have that down nice and low. So the food will sit on the bench. We'll probably put a tile underneath so that it doesn't get dirty. So you've got a tile, you'll put the food underneath the test tube, and as that food burns, it's going to heat up the water in the test tube. And what you can do is use a thermometer to measure the temperature of the water at the start and at the end. Okay? So then we'll know how hot the water has gotten, how much has its temperature changed because of the burning food. And that way you'll be able to tell how much food, how much energy is in each type of food. And you'll be able to say which type of food has the most energy. Okay, so what I want you to do to work on before we start the experiment is to start filling in some of the sections of the assignment sheet. So if you go onto DayMap and click on Science, and then click on Tasks, you'll find this assessment task for the Food Energy Practical Report. Now what you can do is download this practical report template. So if you click on that, what you'll get is a file that looks like this in Microsoft Word. So what you can do is you can fill in the title and your name. You can fill in the aim of the experiment. You can fill in the hypothesis. Now in this case, the hypothesis will be what food you think has the most energy and what food has the least energy. You can put in your independent variable, so that's the thing you're going to change, your dependent variable that you're going to measure, your controls that you're going to use to make sure it's a fair test, so what are you keeping the same. You can write a list of all your materials. You can write a list of safety considerations, so these are the things to watch out for and what you're going to do to make sure that you're safe, including what sort of protective equipment you might wear, like safety glasses and an apron maybe. And then what you can do is start writing the method. Now with the method, I want you to write it as a step-by-step list. Now like it says here, somebody else should be able to follow the steps to replicate your experiment. So you should be able to give this list to anyone else and they can do exactly what you did in your experiment. So start each step in your list with a doing word, like put or pour or measure. So for example, the step where I measured out the water, you could write measure out 20 milliliters of water using a measuring cylinder. Or you could write pour the water into a test tube. Light the food on fire using the Bunsen burner. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what I'd like you to work on today, getting that started. If you don't quite get all of that done in the report, that's fine. There'll be more time in class for you to catch up on that, especially after you've done the experiment. Okay, thank you for watching.